Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the biggest questions you'll face in retirement planning. You've put money into an annuity, but when is the right time to actually start taking it out? We're going to break it all down using some great insights from the Annuity Expert. So you've done all the hard work. You've saved up this nest egg, but, picking the right moment to turn that into a real, steady income stream, that is a massive decision. And as you're about to see, getting the timing right can literally change your entire retirement. And seriously, that is not an exaggeration. If you nail this, you could lock in a much larger guaranteed income for the rest of your life. But if you get it wrong, well, you could be looking at some pretty gnarly penalties and a way smaller paycheck than you were counting on. Okay, so first things first, what you can do really depends on the kind of annuity you have. If it's an immediate annuity, well, the name says it all. It starts paying you pretty much right away. But a deferred annuity, which is way more common, lets you pick the start date. And that choice, that's where the magic and the strategy really happens. But before we get into all that cool strategy, we have to cover the rules of the road. Think of these as the non-negotiable guardrails that the IRS and the insurance companies put in place to keep everything on track. All right, if you only remember one number from this entire explainer, please make it this one. This specific age is the absolute key to dodging one of the most common and most expensive penalties out there. Here's the deal. Touching your annuity money before you hit age 59 and a half is a costly mistake. The source we're looking at tells the story of Susan, who, at 57, needed money for an emergency. Not only did she have to pay regular income tax on what she took out, but bam, she also got hit with that 10% IRS penalty. That really took a bite out of her savings. Okay, let's look at our next magic number. So while 59 and a half is about when you can take your money out penalty-free, this age is about when the government says you must start taking it out, at least from certain kinds of accounts. Yep, this is the famous RMD, or Required Minimum Distribution Rule. Basically, if your annuity is inside what's called a qualified account, think of it as money you put in pre-tax, like from an IRA or a 401k, the government has been waiting to get its tax cut. So by age 73, they say, time's up, you have to start taking withdrawals. But listen, it's not just the IRS you need to think about. Your annuity contract itself probably has something called surrender charges. These are penalties that the insurance company charges if you pull out too much money too soon, usually within the first few years of the contract. Okay, now that we know the rules, let's get to the really good stuff. Let's uncover the single most powerful secret to boosting your retirement income from an annuity. And here's a little hint. It actually has less to do with how old you are than you probably think. To get this secret, you have to understand something called the income base. The easiest way to think about it is like a separate phantom number in your account. Your actual cash value might go up and down with the market, but this income base, it just grows. It grows at a guaranteed rate every single year you wait. Its one and only job is to figure out how big your future paycheck will be. And this quote right here, this is the heart of the matter. The longer you can wait after you buy the annuity, the longer you defer taking income, the more time that special income base has to compound and grow. And a bigger income base directly means a bigger guaranteed paycheck for life. It's that simple. And this chart just lays it out in black and white. It's incredible. So you've got two people, both with $1 million, both starting their income at age 60. The person who buys their annuity at 60 and flips the switch right away gets a little under $71,000 a year. But the person who bought theirs at 40 and just let it sit for 20 years, they get over $207,000 a year. That is nearly 3 times more income every single year for the rest of their life. So the big takeaway here is undeniable. It's not about how old you are when you decide to take the money. It's about how long you waited. Every single year you defer, you are essentially giving yourself a guaranteed raise that will last for your entire retirement. Okay, so let's say you've waited, you've maximized that income base, and now you've decided it's time. Well, you're not just stuck with one option. You've actually got a whole toolkit of different ways you can access your money. Just think of these as different tools for different jobs. You can take out small amounts each year, penalty-free. You can turn on that amazing guaranteed lifetime paycheck we've been talking about, or you could even just take out the bare minimum that the law requires. Each one has a different purpose in your bigger retirement picture. All right, we've gone through the rules, we've talked about the penalties, and we've seen the incredible power of waiting. So now let's bring it all together and help you answer that one final question. Should you start your income now, or should you wait? It really boils down to this. You get the green light to start taking income when you're past that 59 and a half penalty age, your contract surrender period is over, and most importantly, you actually need the money to live on. But if you're still working, you can afford to be patient, and your number one goal is to get the absolute biggest guaranteed paycheck you possibly can. Then waiting is almost always the more powerful move. So the strategy is pretty simple, but it is so powerful. The longer you can bring yourself to press pause, the bigger your retirement paycheck is going to be. The real question isn't just about when you need the money, it's about what you're willing to pay for starting early. And now, you know exactly what that cost is.